Hello, and welcome back to the Breadwinner Podcast. I'm your host, Caroline, and you have found the show for sourdough entrepreneurs who want to grow a thriving, sustainable, profitable business that fits their life. If that sounds like you or something that you would like to do, you're in the right place. Today, we are staying true to form in talking about a practical, tactical way to grow a bakery that serves you well. And this topic is a fun one. We're going to talk about scarcity, how to use it wisely, not manipulatively, how to deal with it when it happens naturally, and just some strategies to utilize scarcity in a strategic way because inevitably it's going to happen. So, we're going to talk about how to use urgency to help your customers place their orders early and not feel like you're being salesy or creating more stress for yourself. Limited availability is a tool that can actually be used to serve both you and your customers, to help you sell out more consistently, to avoid taking product home, and to create more predictability in your business, which is just another tool in your kit to avoid burnout. So we're going to jump right in and start by talking about why scarcity works when it's done well. So there's the obvious, maybe not obvious, but once you're in it, you know that the fact is the microbakeries are just limited by nature. We are small scale businesses with a very clear capacity. Sometimes we have to find out the hard way what our capacity is, but there's just a limit because you are working out of your home kitchen. You may only bake once or twice a week. You have limited fridge space. You have limited oven capacity. By nature, you cannot bake as much as the bakery in your town or the grocery store. So the good news is that you don't have to manufacture scarcity. You are not a big, huge company with endless capacity trying to manipulate your sales to make it feel like there's scarcity. It's just here for you. The key is just how to learn to communicate it clearly and intentionally. And when you figure out how to do that, you are going to be teaching, kind of training, guiding your customers how to order early, respect your boundaries, and treat your work with more value. Scarcity works when it's real and when it's respectful. And in our context, it's actually a tool for serving your customers well by helping them plan ahead so that they don't miss out. It is 100% honest to say, I can only bake this much this week, and here's how you can make sure that you don't miss out. So with that said, let's talk about some common scarcity mistakes that are often made about when scarcity can go sideways sometimes. So some of the most common mistakes that I see are no mention of limits. So if your post just says the menu is live, but it doesn't say anything about how many items are available or when it closes, it may be more common for us to tie a deadline to our menu. Then customers don't feel any urgency to order. If they just know that your menu is open, especially if your menu is just always there available, they just drift in and out. They forget about it. They place an order when they're ready because they know that it's always going to be there because you just bake whenever an order comes in. That kind of ties into the second one, which is unclear ordering windows. So if people don't know when your form closes or if you change it every week based on how you're feeling, they're likely to forget. Or they assume that they have time when maybe they actually don't. Or maybe they just won't even order because it's unpredictable and they don't know when to catch you. In that case, they're very likely to go find another baker, even if maybe they don't like their product as much, who has a very clear ordering window and a schedule that's predictable. The third mistake that I see is inconsistent enforcement. So if you say that orders are closing on Wednesday at 9 p.m., but then you accept a DM for an add-on on Thursday morning, you are untraining your customers. You are teaching them quietly and subconsciously that even though you're saying that your menu is closing on Wednesday at 9 p.m., they can use the side door and still sneak an order in. If you say your menu is closing on Wednesday at 9 p.m., but maybe you didn't get quite as many orders as you hoped for, and so you leave it open, that is another inconsistency that confuses people, that that kind of teaches people that your menu is always going to be different. And so either they can just order whenever or they just won't order very often because they never quite know when to find you. And then the fourth mistake that I see is apologizing for being full. So you don't actually need to say, I'm sorry that I sold out. It's a win when you sell out. People are ready to celebrate that with you. So frame it with gratitude and instead say something like, wow, y'all filled up this bake so quickly. I am so thankful. They recognize that and receive it. You are not inconveniencing them by filling up your menu. They're going to be thrilled for your success and be all the more likely to try to jump in when your menu opens the next time. A really solid way to build trust with your customers is to show up consistently. So when you treat your bake schedule with structure, your customers are going to do the same thing too. I believe that is a huge part of why my business has grown in the way that it has, because for 2 years, I have been consistently opening my menu at 3:30 on Sundays. I send a text with my menu and people know what to expect and when it's coming and they can plan ahead. They know that they can't order after Tuesday. When I first started rolling out my system, I definitely had texts all over the place, people asking if they could order for any old day. And I still get those every once in a while, but they are very few and far between now because people know my menu opens on Sunday, it closes on Tuesday, and they're going to pick up from the market on Saturday, from the porch on Thursday, whatever my pickup schedule is for that week. I very clearly communicate that when they're ordering so they know what to expect. If you're in the very beginning stages, it's really easy when you just have an order or two each week to fit that into your schedule. But you can be so kind to yourself and kind to your customers as well by establishing a predictable rhythm and system in your very early days. That will make it so much easier to scale up as you grow, because once you're managing 5, 6, 10 orders a week, it gets so much harder to just fit those in. And so that is when you're going to really want a predictable schedule. So if you haven't started, now's the time. Don't wait. You're not too small. This is the perfect time. Even if you've not sold a single loaf, launch with a predictable schedule. And then from the very get-go, people will know exactly when to find you, where to pick up, and there will be no confusion. They will trust you. They will treat you as a professional, and it will only help everybody. So now let's move into how to actually teach your customers to order early. So you can absolutely train your audience to take action sooner. And it doesn't require high pressure tactics. This isn't anything icky like Pavlovian method. It's just teaching them what to expect and when. So here's some things that have worked for me. I remind them regularly, specifically for my market, which does tend to sell out pretty early. Every time I post about the market, I let them know I'm going to be out here on Saturday from 9 to 2, but the favorite flavors sell fast, so try to get there early. That lets them know what to expect, and if they do make it out there late and their favorite flavor's gone, they're less likely to be bummed out and disappointed because they knew what to expect. You could share this when you're posting your weekly menu as well. Just let people know orders are limited and I usually sell out. The next thing I do that works well is limiting my quantities on my menu. Back when I was using a more manual process with Google Forms, I would manually close my orders when I hit capacity. But now it's automated. I use the Simply Bread app and I just set my quantity, the amount that I feel comfortable baking for that week. And when it's sold out, it's sold out. I don't go in and add more because people are disappointed. And then I may communicate that in an Instagram story or in a text or something and just say, thank you so much. I'm at full capacity for this bake, or orders are full for this week, and let people know how they can find me the following week. And then I follow through. So like I said, no last minute additions. Sometimes I get a text if a favorite product sells out really fast on my pre-order menus. People will be like, can you add more? And I really just have to hold that firm line and say, I wish I could, but I can only bake a limited capacity and I have reached that limit for this week. You can get my text reminders next week if you want to jump on it early. There's naturally going to be some disappointment. So I'm always trying to increase my capacity where it makes sense. But that's where the next step comes in. People inevitably will miss the deadline. They might miss out on their favorite product if they're not able to jump on the menu when it opens. And that's a great chance to nurture that relationship, to build some trust, to let them know that you see their disappointment, you value them showing up and trying to get that product. And so just a simple message instead of just saying sorry could sound something like, "Thank you so much for reaching out. I am completely maxed out for this week's bake, but I'd really love to serve you next time." So I open the menu on Mondays, for example, and they do tend to fill up quickly. So the earlier the better. I'll be sure to post again as soon as the next menu is live. And then if you have text reminders, you could include that as well. Let them know how to get on your text list so that they can receive that reminder when your menu opens next time. So it's a clear, kind response that gently lets them know what to expect for next time. What about some wording, some phrases that create gentle urgency? So you don't need hype, you don't need big energy, you don't need countdown timers, just clear, thoughtful communication. So some examples of language could sound like, "This week's menu is live, quantities are limited, and I expect to sell out." Or, "Orders close Wednesday at 9 p.m. or when I hit capacity." Or you could say a very clear number. "I'm only offering 6 boxes of these this weekend." Or you could share an actual history. "Last time I offered this, it sold out within a few hours. Just a heads up." So the key is invite them in early. Don't let people assume that they can wait and it will just be there or you can just bake more. Let them know that when you have hit that quantity, that is their last opportunity. So here's an example that just happened this past week from my own bakery. I offered a seasonal apple pie scone. I teased it in my Instagram story, but I only had space to make a certain amount. And so instead of just quietly adding it to my market table, I did share that Instagram story. I let people know that it was coming to the market and that it was limited. And they were the first product to sell out on my table. When people see that it's coming and that it's a limited product, they're often, especially with this seasonal product that's a novelty, they're often ready to jump on it early because they don't want to miss out on that special item. So that is a good example of scarcity that serves, letting people know, honestly, you just have a small amount of this product and here's how you're more likely to get it. So that helped me sell confidently, manage expectations, and stay on schedule. So teasing that product allowed me to sell a brand new product confidently, also manage expectations. It was limited. And when I find that when I tease a seasonal flavor or something limited like that I'm unsure about, I'm more likely to sell it rather than just put a brand new product on my table without saying anything. And then people aren't quite sure what to think. If I don't tease it a little bit, I find that it lingers on my table a lot longer. The power of suggestion works. I don't know. All right, circling back a little bit to setting a consistent schedule. Like I mentioned, if you don't already have a consistent order deadline, I really recommend creating one. So here are some examples on how this can look and how to communicate it. If you haven't had a consistent order deadline, this is a great time to just gently share with your customers, "Hey, my bakery is growing, and in order to serve you best, I'm implementing a schedule so you know when to order each week, and I have a clear plan on how to deliver it to you. So orders for Saturday pickup will close on Wednesday at 9 p.m. or order by Thursday at noon for weekend pickup. Or the menu opens on Sunday and it closes when it's full or by Tuesday at 6 p.m. And you're free to tweak this. You're not setting it in stone. I have changed my open date a little bit, and I have also changed the time when my orders close. I found that closing on Tuesday morning, no, originally I closed on Tuesday evening, Tuesday around 8 or 9, I don't remember. And I found that wasn't giving me enough time to plan ahead to make sure that I had all the ingredients I needed and the starter fed to start dough day on Wednesday. So I pulled back the time when my orders close on Tuesdays. And I didn't make a broad, grand announcement, but I did make sure to make that change anywhere that customers would go to find out. So Instagram bio, Facebook bio, the little about me on the Simply Bread app, so that when they do go try to find out what to expect, how to order, when the orders are scheduled, they could see clearly when it was going to close. So once again, just to reiterate, having that consistency, that predictability not only makes your life so much easier, but it also helps your customers know what to expect. So you can add your schedule to your bio, like I said, add it to your ordering form, make a pinned post on your Instagram or Facebook so that it's always visible. Just a little post on Canva to share your weekly schedule and pin it to the top so that it's the first thing that they see when they land on your account. And then just a couple final thoughts here about scarcity. So one key thing to note is that you get to set the limits. Scarcity isn't just about product quantity, because it can also be about limiting how many products are on the menu. You don't have to have a menu with 8 different products. You can scale it back to a more manageable 3 or 4 if that feels like the capacity that you actually have. Even if people are requesting products, you can rotate those in. You don't have to offer everything every single week. It can also look like limiting pickup windows, the time when people can actually pick up your bread. It doesn't have to be all day long. You could share a 2-hour or 4-hour pickup window. It could also look like saying no to late orders. This is really hard, especially when you are in the early phases of building a business, to say no to an opportunity. But again, when you hold that firm boundary, you are teaching your customers to respect that and to treat you like a professional. They're not going to go to the grocery store and try to put in some big request for something custom and expect it to just be available. And in the same way, if you show up as a professional, just because you're a home baker does not in any way undermine your professionalism. But you can hold that firm line if someone's trying to squeeze in a late order and say, I'm full for this week, but here's how you can order next week. And then one other limit to set, and along the same lines, is saying, I only bake once a week right now. When people are asking for those one-off orders, you can just clearly say, this is the schedule that serves my family. Over the summer, I was only baking for the market twice a month. That meant that people were waiting a long time in between their bread. And so I also let them know that you grab an extra loaf and stick it in the freezer, and shared freezing tips. But I was clear on what to expect. I put it on the headline of my ordering platform so they knew what to expect. And anytime anyone had a question about it, I just let them know that's what's sustainable for me and my family right now in this season. And in the fall, you'll see more frequent bake days. So again, just communicating those limits clearly and kindly, your customers are going to respect that and appreciate you more for it. It also makes it easier for them to refer you out to their friends, to say, I order from this great baker. Her menu opens on Sundays and closes on Tuesdays, and we pick it up on Saturday. They know exactly how to let their friends know to find you. If it's willy-nilly, like, here, send her a text to order, she can bake it whenever, that's a lot less concrete and a lot more easy for that friend to just not order because it's a little confusing. Maybe feels a little weird to just send a text to a stranger. So to recap, 5 ways to use scarcity to serve yourself and your customers. First, set clear limits. Share your quantity caps and your ordering windows. Second, use gentle urgency. So invite your customers to order early. Third, stick to your boundaries. Don't untrain them by making exceptions. Hold that line firmly. Fourth, respond with care. Missed orders are a chance to build trust. If they are putting in an order late or miss out on a favorite product, validate that and let them know that you are so thankful that they were trying, and let them know how to find you in the future. And then finally, create a consistent rhythm. Regular order windows, pickup windows, all of the consistency and predictability build habits. So it builds trust, it builds predictability, and it helps create a business that people can keep coming back to. So scarcity isn't creating pressure, it's about creating clarity. You have these natural limitations, And if you don't know how to handle them well, they can be frustrating for you and frustrating for your customers, but it can be used in a very wise and strategic way to help everyone. So it helps serve your customers well, protects your time, and helps you run your bakery with purpose. If you want to reread those scripts that I gave about like the disappointed customer, you can find that in the show notes, which is linked down below. As always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking time with me in your ears. Remember, saying I'm full this week isn't something to apologize for. It's something to celebrate and something to share in the gratitude for the support that you receive from your customers. I'm so proud of you for taking the time to invest in growing your business, and I'm cheering you on. As always, it would mean the world if you share the show with a fellow baker who might be inspired or learn something. If you take a moment to leave a review, that helps other people find the show as well. I will be back very soon with another episode, but until then, happy baking.